This mural is a student-led project that is a cumulative art piece from numerous students of numerous backgrounds. There are a lot of facilitators like teachers and different artists that helped us along the way. It came about 2 years ago now during a brainstorming session with a few different students, and we wanted to raise awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And we talked about it and we came to the conclusion that a mural would be the best way to raise awareness without having to use our words. I became involved through the Indigenous leadership class at Stelly's secondary. I was one of the students that was a part of the brainstorming process, and I worked with a lot of different students in the Indigenous leadership class, and I worked with a few of the teachers at Stelly's, and I had the honor of working with Sarah Jim and different elders from the community.
I was invited to facilitate this mural project because of my role in the community. I'm an artist and I work on the land doing environmental restoration. We all work together to create this image of this powerful woman surrounded by medicines and ancestors, plants, animals, the land. We were working together to give each other strength, but also to give this woman strength and all those affected by the missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic. As an artist, I approached the mural with the intent of really amplifying the voices and the thoughts and ideas of the youth. I don't want to say I was surprised at their beautiful thoughts and ideas, but it was really enlightening to see how aware these youth are and were. And I just felt so honored and humbled and blessed to be a part of that. I'm glad I could guide that process and be someone who they could share their thoughts with. This project is important because it highlights the gruesome reality we have in this country. Indigenous cultures, Indigenous women are so susceptible and vulnerable to atrocities in this country. And being aware of this, talking about it, we need to spread the word of what is going on to mitigate and amplify the voices of the youth. I feel like the strength of the design and the mural and all of the iconography within is strong because it was a collective project. We had so many different perspectives and ideas that made it a cohesive and powerful image. Edna was the one who suggested we put little critters around and creatures because those are the ancestors kind of supporting and guiding this Indigenous woman in the image. And I would have never thought of that, Just having different minds think about this in their own individual way was a really powerful tool. I find that art is a really good way to start a conversation or open up dialogue because not everybody learns in a classroom, reading books, articles. A lot of people learn in visual ways, by stories, by talking to people, building emotional connections.
I feel honored to be a part of the mural. It was inspiring to see so many different perspectives come together to form one beautiful art piece that is the mural. I think this project is important because it raises awareness to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and it provides an outlet for a lot of different people throughout the school and the community to do their own research and to start conversations and to possibly create change. I think the story of the mural is the woman in the red dress being surrounded by different medicines and different creatures that represent her ancestors. And it also provides a landscape that is what a healthy environment would look like.
The mural project was one of a few different projects that happened at the school where students were bringing up ideas and things that they wanted to see changed about the school and about society. And one focus was the epidemic of murdered and missing Indigenous women. I got on board, Sarah Jim got involved, Bianca got involved, and then the leadership students were fine with having the mural open up to international students and other settler students in the school who were interested. And there was a really incredible group of students. I just helped facilitate it and make the mural happen. I think it was really interesting because some of the students involved had no idea of this epidemic in Canada. They were international students, and through our learning together and having group sessions after school and having visitors come to the school and talk about the politics of Canada and also art making, there was some bonding that happened, and I think it really created an atmosphere that was generous, and there was students wanted to know and they wanted to understand, and I think that was incredibly powerful. This is an important project because this epidemic has been going on for years. I mean, since the time of colonialism, Indigenous women have gone missing and murdered, and I think that education has a direct link to this epidemic of violence. It makes me realize that teaching is important, and it requires a sense of respect and accountability to the students and community. It's time for education to stop looking outward and start looking at our own structures and our ways of teaching and how we define justice. Kids come out of these institutions, either they're going to succeed in society because the institution has supported them, or they're going to end up having to struggle and filling gaps because educators and institutions haven't done that. So collective learning to me means that there's a fairness, that everybody raises each other up, and that we learn together and we work together and we succeed together. I feel moved. I feel that there was a lot of heart and soul and thought that went into this mural. I think it's sending a message that Indigenous women are resilient. I think that the mural could be used for science, it could be used for art classes, literature. There's so many stories embedded in this mural. There's really an incredible space of beauty and wellness for Indigenous women, and that the stereotypes that we're fed in the media and the injustice of police not supporting families, not looking for women when they've gone missing. I think this mural counters those negative tropes that we've been fed as Canadians and as a settler Canadian, because what you see is a woman standing in everything that keeps her well. So she's surrounded by land, she's surrounded by her ancestors, she's surrounded by the teachings that keep her well. And I think that there's a powerful message just not only for education on what we should be doing, but also Canada as a nation.
I think educators and schools need to think about the different levels of sincerity that they need to bring when talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women, both with Indigenous students and otherwise, because a lot of students can have different feelings regarding what missing and murdered Indigenous women means, and how, when talking about the statistics and how different people may react during those conversations. I think schools can support Indigenous women and girls who are still in high school through providing a safe and comfortable place for them to grow on their own and to have their own ideas and their own voices be heard. I think the mural can bring justice to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls through inspiring conversations between different people in the community. And I think that with those conversations, possibly change can be made. I think the mural is a constant reminder that change needs to be made, and I think the best way that people can do that is to view missing and murdered Indigenous women through an Indigenous lens, and I think that lens can be provided through the mural because it is such a collective piece from different Indigenous cultures throughout the island. I think my last thoughts about the mural would be for people who see it almost every day or daily to think about what it means to Indigenous people to have their art pieces be seen and their voices be heard, and to think about what it means to different families and different communities who have their own stories regarding missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. They need to be sincere and honest and have a level of sensitivity when talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.